Salthe, Salette, une femme qui danse sur la scène is a hell of a title, so let's break this down so we know what we're getting into here. Salthe is the name of our main character and doesn't have a meaning. The rest, however, is French for dirt, a woman dancing upon the stage. The mentioning of stage is promising because I can certainly get behind a good play. However, upon further inspection, the implication from the title is that this Salthe character is being likened to dirt. Combine that with the imagery we get from the Steam description stating that it is a comedy about the struggle of a theatre performer who has since died, and we get something that certainly sounds like we're in for something heavy out of this soiree developed title.
王女様の話聞いた聞いた街中その話で持ちきりだぞおいおいお二人さん
Salthe, Salette une femme qui danse sur la scène, which we will just now have to refer to as Salthe from now on because otherwise we'll be here forever, stars a young woman named Salthe, who is the former princess of the Kingdom of Mersin, where, like Nero Claudius of the Roman Empire, she was also a famous stage performer participating in the Vaista Theatre Festival, which occurs every 4 years, taking home awards for her sheer talent over simply being royalty. However, those accolades were short-lived. In case you missed it in my description, Salthe is in fact the former princess, because she's, well, dead. Waking up with inconsistent memories in an empty, fantastical, mystical theatre, Salthe is met by a mysterious and well-dressed masked jester named Clown, who explains her dire situation. However, luckily for her, Clown claims to be an ally and will restore Salthe's memories so she can act them out on stage to work out how she died so she can be brought back to life. This premise is something that could go quite well with some sort of mystery fiction and could be very interesting, but that would require a story to be present. The opening sets up that someone has betrayed the princess by helping the Izel Empire invade the Kingdom of Mersin, leading to her capture. She gets stabbed a bunch and then killed. However, none of the supporting characters get any worthwhile or interesting screen time, so we don't care about the whole betrayal thing. This means we can summarize 90% of the first act, which takes up about 75% of the story with a single sentence. Salthe gets tortured by soldiers from the Izel Empire. In Salthe, the title character gets abused somehow, and then you're presented with a decision. Yes, one option will lead to a bad ending where she's tortured and killed, and another means you get to live, for now, with each scene intercut by a short discussion between Salthe and Clown, where Salthe is bitter and Clown is cryptic, and you, the player, don't get anything to care about. And then you go off to another abuse scene, rinse and repeat until the game decides to present its only real story beat, which will be a plot twist. Presentation-wise, this is excellent. There's a great CG with some good music, and since your expectations are so low by this time, any type of content that requires a modicum of thought is a big step up. Still, in the big scheme of things, you sink back into your chair to reflect and you realize that was a whole load of BS. This twist does not play fair. It presents story beats and characterizations that could have actually provided an interesting story with some depth and, well, interest, but it chose not to, which is made worse by Clown and Salthe acting like this was the most significant twist ever written in fiction. It's a game that likes to parade around how much of a profound theatrical masterpiece it is, whilst in reality containing no more depth than a toddler telling you what colour of crayons they prefer to eat. It calls itself a comedy, in the same vein of the famous Charlie Chaplin quote, "Life is a tragedy when seen in close-up, but a comedy in the long shot." It even uses the exact quote in the story and even attributes it to him. The medieval visual novel uses a quote from a real actor who did almost exclusively slapstick comedy. It's nonsensically tone deaf, because slapstick comedy is an excellent foil to torture porn. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention there's an external patch filled with H content, and it's almost exclusively non-consensual and also has all sorts of wholesome anime girl torture porn.
そうだな。すまない。どうしてもうまく切り替えられなくてな。
そういう真面目で不器用なところがジャンのいいところだけど。
Salthe doesn't achieve anything worthwhile at the end of this comedic tale. There are only 2 scenes that stood out to me, with everything else being an insufferable waste of time. In fact, maybe the story should have gotten back to its original premise of bringing Salthe back to life, because it's never brought up again after the opening. Perhaps that's the real big takeaway. Maybe the joke is on me for reading this mess. Noisy Pixel is going to be very nice and give Salthe a 5 out of 10. Because it's only a $14.99 game, they're not asking for that much, I guess. Thank you guys so much for watching. Noisy Pixel is a group dedicated to bringing you guys the best news reviews, previews, and more. Please stick around by doing all that jazz you already know. And read the review on our site at noisypixel.net. Follow us on Twitter, because at noisypixelnews. Because Twitter's important too, I guess. And whilst you're still here for whatever reason, link a good visual novel in the comments, because then I can say you have better taste than these developers.